they have been lying about the number of black people they have been killing. I'm talking about the police. So a new study has come out. You can find this in Health Report. More than half of the police killings in the USA are unreported, and black Americans are most likely to experience fatal police encounters. 55% unreported, by the way. Check this video out.
In IHME's recent paper on fatal police violence by race, ethnicity, and state in the United States, we found that there was more than 30,000 deaths from police violence between 1980 and 2018. Of these deaths, 55% went unreported by the National Vital Statistics System, which is the vital registration system for the US and the primary data collection agency for deaths in the US. The causes of underreporting vary. Several are that medical examiners and coroners are often embedded within police departments, leading to conflicts of interest as they're expected to report on the violence of the departments they may be embedded within. Additionally, there's a lack of training and standardization for doctors and medical examiners on how to fill in death certificates. This leads to misclassification of police violence as homicide or suicide most commonly.
Let me tell you how staggering this number is. The National Vital Statistics System would report the numbers. The numbers were considered to be accurate, or at least within what we know as a margin of error of 3 to 5%. Now, outside of a 3 to 5% difference, that becomes statistically significant. If the numbers are within an error ratio of 3 to 5%, not as significant. Ladies and gentlemen, their numbers have been off by over 55%. Let that sink in. So every document, every research study, every survey, every time we have quoted numbers about how many people, in particular black people, are killed by the police every year, we have been underreporting those numbers by a significant amount. More than 55% of deaths from police violence in the United States from 1980 to 2018 were misclassified or unreported. In official vital statistics reports, according to a new study in the Lancet, the highest rate of deaths from police violence occurred for black Americans. No surprise, right? Who were estimated to be 3.5 times more likely to experience fatal police violence than white Americans. Researchers estimate that the US National Vital Statistics System, NVSS, the government system that collates all death certificates in the USA, failed to accurately classify and report more than 17,000 of these deaths as being caused by police violence during the 40-year study period. It gets even deeper. Black Americans, now remember this, Black Americans have experienced fatal police violence at a rate 3.5 times higher than white Americans, according to this analysis, with nearly 60% of these deaths being completely misclassified by the NVSS, the National Vital Statistics System. You know, one of my college professors said to me, figures don't lie, but liars do figure. And because of the reporting matrix of how these data sets get to the national reporting system, there's a significant amount of manipulation. There's no uniform code, there's no statute or statutory requirement to produce these numbers accurately, and there's also no uniform protocol for the reporting of these numbers. For example, many of the coroners will report that the person died by suicide because they did something that caused the police to shoot them. So they will say, no, this is not a police death or police related death. This is in fact a suicide, which is completely antithetical to the reason you have the data requirement in the first place. Caroline, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, well, it's great to be here, and this is truly just such a bombshell report that confirms what a lot of people have known for a very long time. Someone like myself has, more recently been introduced to, and I think what's really necessary is that we're finally seeing the groundswell of the past year and a half, 2 years of people out in the streets really demanding changes. And at times it feels like it's been slowing down a little bit, especially with regards to different legislations in Congress stalling. But reports like this are so important because there's a direct correlation between the lack of accurate data that we have available is one of the biggest impediments to treating this crisis as the crisis it is, which is a health crisis, basically.
Right.
And the deaths caused by police violence. So getting these numbers, getting this, indisputable statistics out there really, I think it comes at a really good time as, again, we see lawmakers sort of stalling on different congressional approaches, and studies like these are so necessary for the next stage of this fight. I mean, I think it's really interesting about the effects of the militarization of police departments, how the Department of Defense allows police departments to buy military equipment. And I think the more we can get these stories out there that this is a crisis that our country has created and we have to dismantle it. I think it's devastating, but to see what so many activists and organizers have been saying for so long, confirmed on this scale, is truly incredible to see.
Yeah, and here's the irony of this whole thing. By law, there's a federal statute that requires if a whale dies, it must be reported. If a particular species of animal dies and you encounter that, it must be reported. And you have all of these reporting requirements because in order to fix or remedy the dilemma, they must have accurate data. So they create statutory requirements to report accurately what's happening with a particular species. But when it comes to the species of humanity, in particular the species of black and brown bodies, they have no uniform requirement for reporting. And so a coroner can manipulate the data and not be held accountable because there's no actual requirement other than administrative guidance. And that has to change now.